excitement continues to build as we do near the Kentucky Derby. And I have a very special guest with me, Flavien Prat, who's got a big shot with a horse named Zandon. You guys just won the Bluegrass Stakes, and we're going to get into that in a minute. But before we talk about the Derby and Zandon, let's talk about you. To have the amount of success you've already had in what is relatively a short period of time since coming over to ride in the U.S. Season to season, was it just in 2015, right?
My first full season, was in 2015, yeah.
That's nuts. That's nuts. Mm-hmm. And you already have technically a Kentucky Derby score, a country house. And obviously we know that there was the disqualification. So I'm sure you're still hungry to get it when you're actually crossing the wire officially in front. But still, I mean, what was that like for you?
As you said, it's. I think it's never going to be like, crossing the line first. But, I mean, it was a victory, not the way you expect. But, it was a winner. And obviously, every year you try to get a Derby horse to be in a race and obviously try to win the race, actually.
Well, here's the other part of the equation that I absolutely love. Your passion for horse racing is generational. Your father is a trainer in France. And did you ever think of going in that facet of the industry, or did you always know you wanted to ride?
No, I was, obviously always been around, the races but no, always been, passionate by thoroughbred. Physically, I was, I'm pretty small, light, so I thought it was anyway the right. I was physically built to be a jockey, so it was just the right thing to do at that time.
And you had success straight away. You were a champion apprentice jockey there.
Yes, I was. Start riding when I was 16. I had a really good trainer who taught me a lot as a young apprentice, and gave me a lot of opportunities right away. And I was able to score quite a few victories. Yeah.
What made you decide to come to the United States?
So at the time, every winter when I was riding in France, I used to come. I used to go to California just to get experience and see a different way of riding and training. So I spent 2 winters with Leonard Powell, which is a French trainer based in California. So it was, a good way to introducing myself in the States, and it was, because he's French, it was, as well easy for me to communicate because wasn't speaking English at the time. And then I signed a second call contract for the Vertemer & Frères, which they own horses with Mr. Mandela as well in California. So at the time I thought, well, let's. I was trying to, get myself with an American trainer and kind of, get myself lost in some way in California, and it works out well. I spent 2 winters with Mr. Mandela, and he gave me a few rides the first winter, and then when I came back the second winter, I obviously rode a lot more, give me some great opportunity, and went back to France for the summer, and then I decided to stay.
Well, it's proven to be the right decision. You've had so much success, and even just looking at last year's Triple Crown season, my goodness, you were third on Hot Rod Charlie in the Derby. You win the Preakness on Rombauer, and then you're second in the Belmont on Hot Rod Charlie again. So you've had all this success. I know a lot of times when jockeys come over from Europe, they get kind of typecast as grass riders, but you have just been so adept, no matter the surface, no matter the distance. What do you think it is that you have innately that really puts you above and beyond? Is it just your patience?
I don't know. I know that when I came to the States, I didn't want that tag of a turf rider.
Right.
I mean, I think if you come to the States, most of the big races are on the dirt. So I really didn't want to have that tag, and I really, try to focus on understanding the dirt races, and that was my main concern at the time. And I actually love dirt races, so I thought it just came natural.
And you've now made the transition from the West Coast to now the East Coast, and you're already having tremendous success here right now. You're tied for wins at Keeneland. And as we already went over, one of those wins, of course, being the Bluegrass Stakes aboard Zandon for Chad Brown. How did that ride come about? How did you get them out in the first place?
Well, so last year, obviously, Chad Brown gave me a lot of opportunities. I was spending a lot of time on the East Coast, which it's been, really successful, and it was really fun to do. But obviously, traveling from California almost every weekend was really hard at the end of the year. I was quite tired. And it felt like I could have some support, if I was coming to the East Coast. So I decided to make a move, and obviously I get families here, but my kids are pretty young. My wife was okay with the move, so I think if it was time to try, it was now. Otherwise, it would have been too late in a few years.
What are your impressions of Zandon, and how did you feel? One of the things I was impressed about with the Bluegrass in particular is that he took a little bit of bumping there in the stretch, and it didn't seem to move him one bit.
Yeah, no, he's really straightforward, really handly. The setup actually was not really good for us because the pace was pretty slow. We were off the pace, but just worked out perfectly where I was able to, cut the corner around the quarter pole, and then he showed a lot of heart to get by those leaders.
Oh, definitely. And how do you feel? Have you seen him since the race? Do you get on him in the morning too?
No, I haven't seen him since the race, but I talked to his trainer, and he came back really well. And so, we're hoping for the best.
Now, as a jockey, how do you attack a race like the Kentucky Derby?
Well, I mean, obviously in the Derby, you want to be 40th place, but it doesn't occur that, it seems like that's not the way he runs. So, I mean, we'll see how it goes. Obviously, when you come from off the pace, you're a bit of a victim of the pace itself. But we'll see, we'll see how it develops. Sometimes, there's a hot pace in front, and they give you a chance to make ground. I mean, I think each race it's a different setup.
And I know jockeys, just like we handicappers, they have to look over a race and, like you're talking about, the pace, and understand if the pace was a legitimate one, if it was actually being set by a horse that will eventually come back to you, or if it's a horse that really can carry the speed, and how to then attack that. When you're looking at, for example, with Zandon, one of the things that obviously stands out is that he had run in the Risen Star previously, and that race looks to be pretty key. I mean, you had Epicenter in there, you had Smile Happy in there, and a number of other horses who have gone out to do very well out of the race. Do you think Epicenter is the horse to beat, or is there another horse who's caught your eye that you feel is under the radar, or is it, hey, it's a 20-horse field, anything goes?
Well, it's a bit of everything. I think, as you say, it's a 20-horse field, so anything can happen. But I mean, Epicenter seems like most likely gonna be the favorite, but I think it's an open race. I think you have a horse like the winner of the Arkansas Derby, or even Taibai, who just won. Taibai, who just won the Santa Anita Derby. I mean, obviously, he has only 2 runs, so doesn't have much of experience, but he showed a lot of talent last time. I mean, I think it's going to be a wide open race, and it's all going to depend about the draw and the trip, pretty much.
One last question for you. The whole Kentucky Derby, the pomp and circumstance, does that even get to you? Not having been born and raised in the States, does it still have that effect?
Oh, absolutely. The first time I actually seen the derby, it was in the I mean, in 2015 or 16, I think. So I was riding that weekend, and so I was in the grandstand to watch the derby, and you just realize how big it is, and how I mean, this is the Super Bowl pretty much. From a European rider, we have a lot of more knowledge and on Breeders' Cup, because obviously there's a lot of European horses that come for the Breeders' Cup. But yeah, I mean, definitely the Breeders' Cup, this is the race, yeah.
Well,
The derby, sorry.
Oh, well, we are excited to see what happens come the first Saturday in May for you and Zandon. And one thing is for certain, you'll be bringing the Flav, my guest, and this way. Je parle français un peu, by the way.
Oh, perfect.
But just not very well. But in any case, thank you so much for your time. And again, we're looking forward to more come again the first Saturday in May.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.